I worked for an educational publishing company in Belgium, and when I started, the organization mainly sold school books to pupils and teachers who taught primary to higher education. The company employed 130 people and was funded through a shareholder that was private equity. At the end of 2011, I had just been appointed CEO, and many things weren't going well. Our results were very disappointing. We were in a situation that many organizations face today. Almost all our brands that we call methods were declining. Our portfolio was very scattered because we lacked focus. On top of that, we didn't have the right organization or people to reverse this trend. We were still making products for teachers who were now over age 50. Unfortunately, the biggest group of teachers comprised Generation Y teachers who had completely different needs. And we needed to prepare the company for digitalization and for the new market. Our private equity shareholder wanted to sell the company. They had bought us 5 years ago, and they felt it was their time to sell. Of course, they wanted to sell very high because they bought us at a very high price in 2007, just before the financial crisis. Therefore, no drop in profit was allowed. We had to increase profits. And that while our revenues were set to decline for at least 2 years. That was how long it would take to develop new products. And I wasn't ready to compromise on my values and restructure with layoffs. So I was really determined to find another way to increase the profit. We started with a very classic strategy called Focus Program. It consisted of a strong focus with more stop-doing lists than to-do lists. We had good years in 2012 and 2013. Years of hard work, but of enthusiasm. We found a new way of producing our content. It was a 130-degree change for us. All that was completely transforming our organizational profile. Externally, we were forming a new ecosystem with new partners, and sometimes our competitors became our new partners. We were also faced with new processes, new job descriptions, new objectives, a new vision, a new strategy, new roles, and new functions. But all of that was the easy part. The transformation was creating big internal issues. At some point, working harder wasn't possible anymore. We started to face too many issues. We all had too many things to do. We still had to produce the old products that were still generating 90% of our revenues, and we had to make the new things. And the tools for building the new things weren't ready yet. We were still in the process of building them. Our detailed long-term planning was not working anymore. Everything kept changing, sometimes even before the implementation had started. It drove people mad. The third issue was that our decision process became too slow or inefficient. When a topic reached the management team, if it ever did, a decision was made and communicated to everyone, new information was available, making it necessary to change the decision, or the problem was already a crisis, or the opportunity had simply gone. And there was a lot of frustration for all the decisions that weren't made because of lack of time or lack of escalation. The need to collaborate among departments had increased tremendously. That was because the processes were changing all the time due to new information coming from new customer demands, new technologies, or new regulations. Departments couldn't finish aligning around one topic before the next one was already there, and then the next alignment came, and so on. As a consequence, people were spending more time in meetings trying to align instead of doing their actual jobs. And that created more stress, but it also gave rise to silo thinking. because it simply wasn't manageable anymore to constantly align with every department. And all these issues were increasing the stress of the people at the company. We started having burnouts, and I even came close to burning out. These issues made it very clear to me that the classic way of leading a company wasn't working anymore. We were using techniques that belonged to a slower time, techniques that were now counterproductive. Working harder wasn't possible anymore. We needed to work smarter. But I couldn't find a training on how to run an organization holistically. What I did instead was enroll into an ontological coaching training at Newfield Network in Colorado. And I started mixing those coaching techniques with new and classic business techniques. These are the big things we did to transform our organization. First, I started a happiness program with anti-stress trainings, massages, fruit and soup at work. I wanted people to learn to take care of themselves. Nobody gets up in the morning to make more profit for the shareholders. People needed a reason to get up in the morning. With our 130 employees, we spent a day on a farm to think about what was important to us, how we would like to change education. With a smaller group, we translated that into vision, values, and key objectives. The third thing we did was that for our digital developments, we started working in sprints. And in order to improve our collaboration, we changed our organizational structure. We organized ourselves in cross-functional teams instead of around functions or specialties. And we continued building our ecosystem with acquisitions, developments, and partnerships. It all led the company to great results. Our financial results grew top line and bottom line. We had an exponential increase in digital users. Our reputation allowed us to attract big deals, but even most importantly, when I left, we had 0 cases of burnout and an absenteeism rate 50% lower than the national average. When I describe it now, it might look like a big success story from start to finish, but it wasn't. During this process, I must have wanted to give up at least 50 times. During the digital transformation of my company, I lost my professional identity. My old identity had served me very well in the past, but it was now standing in the way of great accomplishments. And I can assure you that this transition did not happen smoothly. You might imagine it like this, but it felt more like this. I wasn't the only one going through that personal transformation. My colleagues all went through it as well. This course is about that personal transformation, from a traditional manager towards a key leader capable of leading authentically in digital times. Without that personal transformation, the leader simply will not have the right mindset to implement the things necessary for being successful in volatile times. I see it over and over again in the organizations I help today. Projects or implementations fail because the leaders still view their organizations as they did before, when the times were slower. You don't have to be a manager or to lead a team to follow this course. This course is for every person operating in a volatile environment. But more importantly, it will teach you the 4 habits of authentic leaders in digital times. This was my story, but I'm curious about yours. So please share your thoughts in the comments below this video. Thank you!